Hi, everybody. This is Carolina Millan, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Hustle. And I am here today with the wonderful Amy Landino. She is a content creator, host of Amy TV, book author, best-selling author. She has a new book coming up. We're going to be talking about that. How are you, Amy?
So good, Carolina. It's so good to talk to you.
Thank you for taking the time to be here today, and I'm excited for everybody to get tremendous value. I know they will. I'm also excited to have you here because I have very few women guests on the podcast for some reason. So yeah, I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here, especially for that reason then.
Yes, let's show them that we got it going on.
We got this. Let's do
We
it.
got this. So first of all, for the few people that might not know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about your story, your background, how you got, what did you do before, and how did you get to where you are today?
Sure. So it's been a really crazy 10 years. At this stage of the game, I'm running a media company as well as a social consultancy. And so there's a whole lot of stuff going on and a lot of things that happened leading up to that. But if you would have been looking for me about 10 years ago, I was leaving my job in a law firm where I was working in the fundraising and lobbying department. I went to school for political science and ultimately tried to find a job in that area. And then I was there for some time, but fell in love with marketing on the side. Part of that story was discovering YouTube and video. And I'd never had a creative outlet before. So I finally found one and I just got really excited about it. And with learning about digital and editing video and YouTube and social media as it complements content, I realized I was learning a trade and that at the time, social media marketing was becoming more prevalent for businesses. So this is kind of the short story of how I've gotten to today. Video's always been my main marketing platform for my businesses, but now it's kind of become its own revenue model as well. And so there's a lot of different things going on. Ultimately, I've now gotten to the point where I am more of a productive lifestyle coach than anything else, because that's what a lot of people know me for, that learning about making the most of your time. And that's the inspiration behind the new book, is it starts in the morning.
That's right. So you said something about video editing. Were you editing your own videos at the beginning?
I have been editing my own videos for 10 years. I actually only recently gave that privilege to somebody else.
Wow.
And I'm very excited actually that I waited as long as I did, because I think it's very easy to start outsourcing things. And as long as you have the money, of course, or if you've got the circumstances or the agreements to do so. That was always something that I was told I needed to stop doing by all my colleagues and friends, but they didn't truly understand that that was the thing that motivated me the most, is there was something creative about that I needed to hold on to for a long time. And now I'm kind of excited that I can share that creativity with somebody else and that they kind of take the reins on getting the work done. And I can start focusing my attention on things that make more money in the other hours that I spent, which is all going toward that productive lifestyle again. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was editing my own videos, but I'm not good at it. You are really good at it. If it
oh
was
my
you.
gosh, but it's a learner's curve, okay? And like Final Cut Pro and like graphics, the world sets you up for success by making the things for you that you can't make. So I just made it look like I knew what I was doing. Really, I just bumped my way through that, trust me.
No, but at least you were using the right software. I was like iMovie, and that was it until I
Oh
finally
yeah,
outsourced.
no, I never touched iMovie.
Terrible. So I know you have a new book coming out. Is this your second book? Yes. And it's called Good Morning,
Yeah.
Good Life.
Yes. Good morning, good life. And it is all about the 5 simple habits that are going to help you master your mornings so that you can upgrade your life. I just really wanted to put something in manual form because I got so excited about how well my first book went. I know this sounds crazy, but like I didn't want to write a book. I don't know how many people ever like really say that out loud because it's like, oh yeah, who doesn't want to be an author? I didn't really care about that. To me, it's always about just sharing value with my audience, and I make free videos on the internet. So I just thought that everybody would want it that way. And even though I was making free videos on the internet about making videos on the internet, people still asked me for a book. So I was like, okay. So that's how the first book came to be. And it was just so amazing to see how people received it so well. I realized it's kind of cool to have everything, all your ideas in a little manual. And so that's what the motivation behind the second one was, is that we've talked a lot about mornings and making the most of your time and time batching and calendar blocking and confidence and boundaries in the last couple of years amongst my audience and myself. I just thought, well, let's put it in another manual. And so that's what Good Morning, Good Life is all about.
Awesome. What would you like people to take away from it? Like after they read it, what would be the biggest takeaway?
I think the biggest thing is that the mornings don't have to be scary, and you don't have to be a morning person to leverage them. I would never say that I'm a morning person. I still wake up in the morning like, oh my God, here we go again.
Really?
But it's not, to me, it's not the same thing as saying I value my time. And so I think that the issue is it's so easy to blame the morning, even though you value your time. But if you really value your time, you know that if you just kind of leverage the moments in the morning when the rest of the world hasn't started moving just yet, you can do a lot of stuff before everybody starts bugging you. And that, to me, especially as an introvert, is like the thing. That's the thing that gets me so excited. I get to be silent and in the dark and do my own thing for a couple of hours before anybody else is even saying, hey, how's it going? Here's what I need from you. I want to start on my terms. So I think it's just reallocating where you want your priorities to be and to not let the morning scare you so much. I'll say one more thing, though. Really important that you realize that you don't have to wake up and drink lemon water like me. You don't have to wake up and meditate like Oprah. You don't have to wake up and do specific things. You just need to do what's right for you, moving you forward toward the thing you want. And I think if people started wrapping their mind around that, the mornings would also be a lot less scary.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you would say that. I drink lemon water in the morning too.
But I love it so much.
I love it.
It's got to be like what lights you up, right? Like if you're not going to get excited to get out of bed and go juice a lemon, then like don't do it. Find something else.
Totally. Where did you got that from? Because I got it from Tony Robbins.
Oh, I don't know where I got that from. I swear it probably was Tony Robbins. I would not be surprised whatsoever if it was Tony Robbins. A huge fan. I just went to one of his events recently, actually. But yeah, I think I've been drinking lemon water every morning for like 10 years. So it must have been during this movement of like, I'm going to go work for myself. I'm going to start a business. I need to start bettering myself. And that was one of the first tips I got. And I've just been doing it ever since. It's the best way to wake up in the morning, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's a great one. So what does your typical morning look like? I know you probably reveal it more in detail in the book, but just to have an idea.
No problem. I love talking about my morning. So that's the first thing. I think one of the other things that I talk about in the book is your sleep buffer period. And so I consider this the time before you fall asleep, not go to sleep, fall asleep, and the time after you actually wake up. And we need to consider those times because you need the time to like slow down and fall asleep. And in the morning, you need the time to like not be human yet. So for me, that first half hour, the reason the lemon water is important and my skincare routine, those are the first two things I do in the morning, as well as take my dog out to go to the bathroom because I just don't want that to become a surprise later on. Those are the only things I can handle in the first half hour of being awake. It probably takes me like 10 minutes to like wash my face so that I can just like let my body start realizing we're not going back to bed. It's time to start moving for the day. And that gets easier as time goes on. I'm being a little bit dramatic, but at the same time, giving yourself that grace is huge. So that's really the first half hour. By that time, I've also started brewing coffee, but I take the lemon water, just the lemon water itself. I can't drink coffee until it's gone. That's my rule. Take the lemon water to my office and I sit down and do something called morning pages. So this is something that I learned about in the book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I love it because it sounds like it would just be the most luxurious creative thing, but it's actually getting the worst aspects of your brain out and away. So you essentially just stream of consciousness, right, for 3 pages, and whatever stresses or annoyances or bad dreams or worries or anxiousness that you might have on your mind, you just need to write it out. Because if you're really writing stream of consciousness, you're just writing what you're thinking. So I find that gets so much like gook and spider webs like off my brain, so I can actually do something productive with it after that. So that's really the first thing I do. After that, I go to a different journal and rewrite all of my goals. I have 5 personal and 5 career goals. I rewrite every single morning just so I can remember them. I do not want to forget my goals because those are the thing that are keeping us on track.
Right.
And I also rewrite a passage of affirmations that I've written for myself. And the last thing I do every single morning is read The Daily Stoic. And that is a book by Ryan Holiday with the methodology of the Stoics and his sort of analysis on layman's terms of what their crazy words mean and what we can think about them. I feel like that's the best way for me to start the day. I also stamp my bullet journal just so I can start keeping track of tasks. But those are all the things I do every single morning. Once I've done those, I feel like I can actually eat the first frog of the day. Like, what's the big thing I have to get done that I need to hurry up and do before I start changing my mind and putting it off and things like that. And then I try to go to the gym probably but I try to get there before 9 because I know as late as it continues to get later in the day, it's so much harder to work out. So try to get that done.
Yeah, I was like, wait, she has not mentioned the gym yet. Does she not
I know.
have the gym?
As much as I'm like, sometimes I do actually have to wake up, do the rest of my buffer period, start to feel alive and go straight to the gym, depending on what my schedule is. But I honestly do not feel happy when I have to start the day at the gym. It's my least favorite thing to do, but I still think it deserves the respect of doing it because I always feel amazing when I'm done. But the problem is that it's a girl problem. You go, you shower after that, and then you have to do your makeup and your hair. And it's like, I don't want to have to do all that and then be like morning pages and reading and like, I don't want to be done up for that. I want to be in my robe. I want to be cozy. I want to be kind of awake drinking lemon water and a coffee. Once you get in the shower and your hair and your makeup, like you got to hit the ground running to me. Like it's a totally different momentum, which is why I would rather like end my morning and procedure into the rest of the day with the gym. If that makes sense. I know it's like weird. I think about this every morning.
No, I think it makes sense. Like the way that you just put it makes total sense to do that.
It just goes with my flow so much better. If I had to report to an office earlier, it wouldn't work as well. But my morning routine would probably also be a lot shorter. And so like it's with some of the things I've built into my lifestyle that I'm able to do that.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think that for so many people, and I think I'm going to include myself here, morning routines are so hard, like to stick with it and follow through longer than 1 week. Like, why do you think it's so difficult for some people?
I think a couple of reasons. First of all, it's really easy to call something a habit, but a habit is just a habit. A habit is not a habit if you haven't been doing it habitually, right? So we want to create habits, but we also haven't tried them out yet. So I think that's one of the reasons. I don't want to keep just pitching the book, but this was a really important thing to me. Was the reason we're not sticking with it most of the time is, let's say you watch a YouTube video of like, here's my morning routine. And first of all, the sun is out, which is not accurate because every YouTube video looks better in light, right? So it's like,
yes,
this isn't even timing wise accurate. And it's like pretty and fluffy and amazing. And look how wonderful everybody is after this. And so we think, okay, well, I'm going to do all those things that person did. And I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock and I'm going to do, and then you're doing a bunch of things that somebody else found to be a fit in their life at an ungodly hour that you don't want to be up. And it's very hard to continue to stay motivated by that because if you didn't actually do the self-discovery to find out if that was actually the stuff that would bring you joy. So there might be some things in that process that you should do, but I'm personally not a fan of the word should. I think it should be, as much as I say the word should, I hate it. I don't want somebody else to tell me what I should do. I think I need to come up with it myself.
Yeah.
And so maybe something you're trying isn't great, but you know it's right for you, then it's just going to take actually turning it into a habit, like going to the gym. But if you're doing something just because somebody else is doing it, then that it may not ever be a fit. So that's why it was so important to me in this book to say, like, look, I believe if you hit 3 pillar areas, and I'm happy to expand on that, but 3 pillar areas, if you do these 3 things, whether you have 15 minutes or an hour, if you do 3 things that fit your life in those 3 areas, you're good. Like, to me, that's a solid morning. And it doesn't have to be that you do what everybody else is doing.
What are those three pillar areas?
So I set that up really well, didn't I?
Like, you knew what to say.
So, I know. I talk too much. So basically, the 3 things that I think will fill you up enough that you felt like you started the day on your terms are movement, mindfulness, and mastery. So I like to have them. I usually like things in alphabetical order, but that's why I like struggle to say them, because this is reverse alphabetical order. Because I do
Okay.
think most people benefit from doing the gym first. But movement, like, what does movement mean to you? It could mean exercise. Movement does come for me later in the morning, but I check it off. But I also think movement can be a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, movement for you might be that you wake up at 7 a.m. with the sun and you take your walk to go get your coffee. That's movement. You're moving your body, you're going. Sometimes for me, movement is that skincare routine I do in the morning, and just moving muscles around on my face is like doing a stretch, like 5 minutes of like whatever, just getting your body to wake up. If you do something to move your body, you feel less like this little crab that's barely been able to move the whole morning. You're not going to get a lot done if you feel like you're still stuck in like the kink in your neck from the sleep or whatever. So whatever movement feels right to you, do it. It doesn't have to be you have to do that workout. Maybe you're more of an evening workout person, or an afternoon. Just how can you move your body? Do something so that you're telling your body, hey, it's time to get going for the day. Mindfulness can be anything. You might want to meditate. I'm not super good at meditation. I can sit down and do it for 5 to 10 minutes, but it's difficult for me. So it's not usually my go-to thing. Where morning pages is extremely mindful as well. It's just more the act of writing. But as long as I am writing what's happening in my head as real time as possible, that's a very mindful act. But maybe you'd rather just clean your kitchen. Go wipe your kitchen counter down and actually feel the fabric between your fingers, or notice the strokes that you're making on the counter, or just pay attention instead of thinking of 50 million other things that you have to do today while you're wiping the counter furiously. Do something where you're actually doing the action while you're doing the action. The best comparison I've heard of this is taking a shower. When was the last time you took a shower while you were taking a shower? Usually you're like thinking of a million things. You're thinking about who you have to call, or man, there's a lot of hair in the drain. We need to call a cleaner. Like, you're thinking too much. You're not doing the action and thinking the action at the same time. So I think mindfulness can be a lot simpler than the meditation movement for more people. So it's more within reach. And then mastery is the final one. And I think this is the most important one for those people who feel like, I generally do not have enough time in my life. I give everything away to everybody else. I have to go to a job. I have to take care of my kids. I've got to make dinner. I've got to hit the store. I've got to run all these errands. I got to go to so-and-so's birthday party. Before you know it, your time is gone. But if you made the time in the morning, you could potentially make it happen. Even though we still have people that live in our homes sometimes that like might disturb the morning a little bit. And I do talk about obstacles in the book and how to work with them. But what if you were really trying to start like a business, or you needed a side hustle, or you wanted to learn a foreign language, or you just wanted to do something that actually made you happy? You wish you had a hobby. You wish your whole world wasn't surrounded by appointments and going to work. You wish there was just something a little bit more. That's what I think the mastery thing does. You can make the time, just a few minutes a day, even if it's 15, 30, whatever you have. Can you do the creative writing so that you can write that book someday? Can you sit down with the foreign language app and work with it? Can you do some research on the industry that you want to start a business in? This is the actual moment, I think, that made me realize that mornings were powerful, because it wasn't just that I was respecting myself and my body in the morning and my mind, but I was also respecting the desires that I had and what it was going to take to get there. And it's really easy to lose that time. A lot of us say, oh, it's so much easier at night because I'm done with work and I'm home and the kids go to sleep or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but your body's also really tired.
Right.
Your mind is tired. You gave away a lot of that bandwidth to the rest of the day. So if you could just steal a couple minutes in the morning for that mastery, it could change the game.
Absolutely. And well, that leads me to another question I had for you, which is, what's your advice for people who are night owls, who cannot get up at 7 no matter how hard they try? They start their day at 11, What do you tell them?
I mean, here's also the thing, right? It's not about what time.
Yeah.
If you can start your day at 11, it must be for a good reason.
Right.
Let's talk about, if you're a night owl, it could also have to do with the night job. So there's probably some people that's your morning is when your morning is. So the challenge becomes, when did you stop having commitments? And then how much time did you give yourself after that? All of this is a reverse engineering to what time you're going to wake up. So if you know that you wake up at 11, but you could wake up at 10, or if it's like maybe a little bit more, like, it doesn't matter. If you knew you just had one more hour in the morning, it would be different. It would be a totally different game. Yeah. Instead of just saying like, whoa, what would that be like? You just got to reverse engineer it. You have to find that hour someplace else. If you want the extra hour in the morning and you know you needed that much sleep, then you should probably find that hour the night before. If you are a night owl, it doesn't make that time less valuable. It's just that if you respect the fact that you can get some good work done during that time, but you might also just be able to go a little bit further in the morning because you'll be less tired. Ideally, as long as you woke up properly and you're not like a total zombie that only slept for 4 hours. It's all about, did you get enough sleep? And are you making the most of your brain and your thoughts and your body when it's optimal? I do believe that there are people who are super powerful at night, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to start the day on someone else's terms. I think you should be able to start the day on your terms too. I think you should have both. But absolutely, it's totally up to everybody else. It's up to you. It's up to your individual situation. I can't tell you what time to wake up. I can't tell you how long your morning routine should be. I think the upside for night owls is that they have to worry about less of a morning routine. If they feel so empowered, so owning of the evenings and the night, and they get so much done. I talked to my husband this morning. He's a total night owl. And we went from, let's set up some appointments. This is us over dinner. Let's set up some appointments to explore that business idea. That's great. This morning I woke up and I do my whole morning routine. He doesn't wake up for another 3 hours. I go wake him up and he's like, oh yeah, last night I set like 5 appointments and a lunch. I was like, really? Like, because there are other night owls like him that are still talking about business at 9 o'clock at night when I'm snoozing. So it's all about respect. Yeah, it's the respect of who you are. It is about not trying to change who you are, but also not trying to use that as an excuse as to why you might not try something else. Because if you are in a state where you are dissatisfied, do something about it. Yeah. If you're 100% happy with your life, if you feel like you wake up on the best terms possible, if all is well and good, you're making money, you feel good, you're comfortable, you're taking care of your family, and you're a night owl like a boss, I have nothing for you, because you're probably still doing something in the morning that hits those 3 things that makes your synapses fire, and you're good. This is for somebody who's generally saying to themselves, life could be better. I could be doing more. Not doing more just to do more. I could be accomplishing more to assert myself better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's really important because nowadays we are getting bombarded by so many people with sometimes contradicting advice about what you should do with your day, what works, thousands of planners. Like I have on my desk like 3 different planners. And
they're so fun to buy, aren't they?
I know. And I also heard that your book is coming along with a planner. So if you want to tell us a little bit about the planner and how is it different from the 100 ones I have?
I think what was important to me was not to add another planner to the market. It was more because, like, truth be told, the planner is very hard and very expensive to do. Yeah. So the reality is that it was, to me, more about the fact that if I'm talking about your day and designing your day, it's planner in nature, but what we've actually put in it is workbook quality. So directly the things that we talk about in the book, like I said, your sleep buffer period. When is it? When does it start? How do you figure that out? How do you map out your morning and map out your evening to be able to figure that out? We have that in the planner, which is a workbook planner, in my opinion. What are your mindfulness, mastery, your movement? What are those 3 areas? How are you rethinking them every month? And we have a place for you to do that. Reflection, I talk about in the final chapter of the book. It's a chapter called Thrive. And it's more about what happens after the morning. What are you doing the rest of the day? What are you doing to build your network? What are you doing to create value for the world? What are you doing to reflect? You only get 52 Sundays a year, maybe. Like, it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less, right? And if you think about like 52 Sundays, if you sat down every Sunday night and really just went through a line item of like, how did this week go? Did we move forward a millimeter on our goals? Each goal, touch base on them. What happened this week that we can follow up on? What tasks, what people, things like that. If you just reflected on a regular basis, that would move you forward than a lot of people, because it's amazing how we go, oh, I'm going to do that. And then it's December. right? So if you just reflected on a regular, so I talk about that in Thrive. And so we added a place for that in the planner. So to me, I almost felt like we should have named it a workbook, but it looks like a planner. So it's like, well, it's going to make a lot more sense as a workbook if you also read the book, but it also, I think, is a pretty cool planner.
Cool. So it could be a standalone planner, but goes better with
absolutely.
the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can walk through all of the prompts without having read the book, and ideally, you will not even have to have read me saying give mornings a try. If you look at the reverse engineering of how you find time for things and you fill in the timing blanks and go, okay, well, that should be good. And then you set your alarm for a different time and you go to bed at a different time. You might just try it out because you decided. That's my goal with all of this. Whether you read the book or you're just using the planner or both, my goal is for you to decide what it's supposed to be. And so I'm not going to tell you what time it's going to be or that you should meditate for 15 minutes and it should be on this pillow. Like, no, I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. And I'm going to also tell you how hard it's been, going from a single person who has a morning routine to a married person with a morning routine, having a dog that is high maintenance. May not have kids, but I got a high maintenance dog. So it's like all of those obstacles, including if your boss is blowing you up on text, if your mom's texting you in the middle of the night. Was there an emergency? Should you sleep with your phone? Spoiler alert, no, you should never sleep with your phone. And even from the worst experience in the world that I have been through, I still believe that. So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to deal with, but it's still all your life. Every aspect of it is your life. And you should be the one to decide how that's going to go. But the first step in that is not letting anyone else decide how it's going to go anymore. And that's usually an excuse, not actually what's happening. Like, true. Unless you're in boot camp or in some other extreme situation where somebody else is deciding how your day is going to go, you're the one in charge.
Absolutely. Love that. Do you still have a couple more minutes? I had a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, I just yak away. I'm like,
no, I love it.
Next question. No, I've got an idea.
So I wanted to ask you about one thing is I know video has been very important for you over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. First, when did you notice that it was working? Like, oh, this is working. People are watching. Interesting. And also today, how do you plan your content? Because you upload pretty consistently, not every day, but I was checking your channel and you have a good amount of uploads. So how do you plan that part?
Yeah, I almost have like 1,000 videos on that channel. Right now we publish every Wednesday and Sunday. For 3 years, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That was really at the beginning of, oh crap, this might be working. Also talking to really smart people around me, people who are doing the same things there and talking to my YouTube colleagues and being like, oh, you upload that regularly? Like, I don't just upload whenever I want. You kind of get to a point where you learn and you're like, there's best practices. This is good. It was never a moment of me saying like, oh, wow, I'm getting views. It was more that it was like, people are talking about this. Mm-hmm. I think that's more indicative of success than anything else. Everything else can be bought. I mean, look, Instagram's potentially phasing out likes forever because whether they're gamified or not, I think that they've just decided they don't care about whether or not that's for show. And it's doing nothing but the opposite mindset wise for what they want for their user base. But I've never really measured success on likes or views as much as I have what the content of the conversation is that I've started. Because if I upload a video, it is not just mic drop. I mean, sometimes I have a mic drop moment, but I don't know it unless they told me in the comments, right? So it's like, what are they talking about? And I think that's why Instagram comments will probably be a lot more important because when you look at what people are saying, also offline, right? Here's a YouTube video, here's a tweet. Somebody tweeted my video. Somebody tweeted my video? Like, yeah, that's huge. Why would they want to share that with their community? Was it a positive comment? Why did they say that? Why is this interesting to them? That's how I've measured my success. It's only since 2018 that everybody else was like, wow, you're a success, because all of a sudden I was hitting arbitrary numbers that, look fancy, and I get an award on my wall. Yay, I'm award winning now. But
Right.
it's like, the reality is that number does not matter. Subscribers don't matter. Views matter because there's a measure of impact there. Subscribers matter because it says people want to come back. Doesn't mean they are. Doesn't mean YouTube's algorithm is going to make it work. So to me, are people talking about this still? Or are we just doing it just to keep a dead horse going? And fortunately, I don't have a dead horse. And it's been really helpful to see that my audience chimes in, they tell me what they want. It's a blessing and a curse of a thing, but it's mostly a blessing for me because it keeps me from having a dead horse. It reminds me, don't stay comfortable. When I was changing the channel from the former name of the channel was Savvy Sexy Social. We talked a lot about video and marketing, and I was talking to the same girl, but we were talking about very different things. So when I decided I wanted to switch gears on that in 2018, a lot of people thought I was absolutely crazy. And it was like, your last name changed, the channel changed, your content's changing. It's just like,
Everything's changing.
I couldn't listen to Destiny's Child my entire life. Beyonce had to grow up too. We all have to grow up together. The content has to change. Otherwise you become irrelevant.
True.
And so it's not that I'm like pining to not be irrelevant. It's that if I'm really having a conversation with people I care about, then I better make sure it's a conversation they care about. That's what it comes down to. So that's how I have measured success. The numbers more just tell me what the platform's doing with my stuff. But I have to look at the comments. Some of my most poorly viewed stuff, because YouTube will just push it down on the algorithm, like, you didn't put morning in the title. It's just a vlog. We don't care about this. And they might not tell my subscribers about it. Sometimes those videos are the ones with the most stellar and over the top amazing comments because something else happened in there that they've never seen from me before.
Yeah.
So that's really hard to measure.
Yeah, and also the people that dig deep enough in your channel to find those videos and leave a comment, that's what...
Yeah, they care. They care. They're like, YouTube didn't show me this video. I'm like, I know, right? Like, what am I supposed to do about that? I can't stress out about that. My cortisol levels go up on their own as it is. If I sit here and get mad about YouTube running their business the way they got to run their business, that's hard. That's an uphill battle. That's an uphill battle.
Absolutely. What is your advice for people who are starting now? Like, am I still on time? A lot of people think it's too late. I missed the bus or whatever. The train.
Oh my gosh. I just saw, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Philip DeFranco, but he's
I love him. I love the guy.
OG YouTuber. And he presents the news to us. And I saw him reporting about somebody on YouTube the other day that had uploaded twice and somehow hit millions of subscribers. The reality is this. Yeah, it's busy now. Yeah, it's not likely you're going to do something that's not been done. People have gone so far to do things that have not been done. They've done the most immoral and terrible things possible. Yeah. We don't need to do that. We need to talk to one person, like we know them really well, like we've been going to coffee with them once a week, every week for 10 years, and have a real conversation with them. And if you're that person's person, they will keep coming back. And when you know really well who that is, that community of people will find you, they will love you, they will share you. Those are the only people you need. There's a really great manifesto on the internet called Your 1,000 True Fans, I believe it's what it's called. Yeah. It's a really, really, really good thing to read, because the reality is we've been measuring things in such big numbers. We don't even know how much is so much money. Like Kylie Jenner is selling 51% of her company for like $600 million. That doesn't even sound like that much money. And it's like, that is a lot of money, but is it a lot? Is it not? Because we don't even know these numbers anymore. No. Like, let's just look at impact. Let's really understand what we're doing, because somebody's done it younger than you. Somebody did it before you. Somebody hit a crazy $1 billion number before you. So what? That does not have to dictate you, what you do, what value you bring, and what you're going to do with your life.
Well said. Very well said. Couple more questions still for you. what do you recommend to people who are struggling to find their passion? Because you're so passionate about your thing. And I know there are many people who are looking to be independent, they want to start a business, but they're having trouble with, okay, what is my passion? What would you tell those people?
I actually write about this in the book because go find your passion is the worst advice of all time. Like it's so hard, and yet it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. But I think the reason that it's hard and it's the best thing ever is because you really need to be like, ask yourself, do you even want to find your passion? Have you been acting like it? If you want to find your passion, you have to be in a really deep state of self-awareness. And 10 years ago, when I said, wow, I really like editing videos, and kind of odd that I'm filming myself, but that's how I get content, to edit videos. And there's a platform, so some people are doing it, but nobody in my life is going to understand this. This is not socially acceptable whatsoever. When I hold the camera at the grocery store, somebody asks me if I need them to take a photo of me. And I'm like, no, dude, I'll do something. We don't live in that world anymore. So now it's easier, but now it's busier, right? The point is that if you really want to find your passion, you need to be okay with loving what you love, and also okay with the fact that you might not find this answer on Instagram or Facebook. And I think the hardest part is you can't find your passion if you're too busy looking at everybody who's obsessed with theirs. If you spend too much time on social, if you spend too much time even watching television, reality television, those people are passionate. The people on social media are passionate. They've found some kind of passion, or at least they're pretending to. Either way, that's not helping you. It might motivate you if you know where to compartmentalize it. But if you don't actually make the time to be in touch with what you're thinking and feeling about something, and whether or not you'd be willing to take a chance on it and spend your free time on it and wake up an hour earlier for it, then it doesn't matter what it is. Scrolling Instagram while you're watching TV at night and going, oh, I wish I had a YouTube channel. I wish I had a podcast. I wish I had this, that, or the other thing. That's not the same thing as being passionate. So I think it's about, have you made time to be passionate? Have you made time to think about what passion looks like in your life? Instead of spending too much time thinking, oh, that person got lucky, or everybody else seems to have time and I don't. I have to work. I have kids. When you use these things as a crutch, you're not doing anybody any favors. Certainly not yourself.
You got it. Sometimes you got to let passion find you instead.
Passion found me.
Yeah.
Passion found me.
There you go. Finally, Amy, what would you like your legacy to be? What would you like to be remembered for?
Oh, I mean, my legacy, I say it every day. I want people to go after the life that they want. And I think that that's what allows me to look in the mirror every day and approve of who I am, is I know that that's my purpose, and I know that that's what means a lot to me. But, you know, I also lost my brother in the last year. And so I think when I think of legacy, I think of him too, because we had so many conversations about how he wanted more for his life and what he wanted to do, but he was also crushing it. He was crushing it. He was 21 years old, going for one of the biggest promotions at the store that he worked at. And the people that owned the company didn't understand because they didn't see him. They weren't in that store. They were in corporate America. And every time he tried to get a promotion, they were like, who's this 21-year-old kid? You guys are thinking about making manager of the store. That's ridiculous. He was crushing their sales goals in every department he worked in. He did so much good. And he was going after the life that he wanted, but he kept forgetting about patience. And that was a lot of what I think Johnny could have done better, was allowing himself a little bit of patience, a little bit of grace. And I think he taught me that through his life. And I want to keep teaching that too. Just be patient. Yeah. Because if you really are doing the thing that you want and it's making you happy, but you're maybe not seeing the results that you need to see in order for you to post a lively Instagram against everybody else, you don't have patience, because it's not about that. To me, even if I don't have a stellar story to tell on Instagram today or an accolade to brag about, if I continue to have freedom every day to teach the lessons I want to teach and make money at it so that I can be wealthy and have a good life someday, then I'm on the right track and I don't need to post about it. It's really about what I want.
There you go. Excellent. Love it. And sorry for your loss.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you asking about legacy. And I didn't mean to like end on that, but he really is what I think about when I hear that word now.
No, that's totally, totally awesome. So, Amy, thank you so much for your time today. Where can people find you? Also, of course, where can they find your book and where can they find you to connect with you?
Well, I'm everywhere, so it'd be really hard to not find me. But goodmorninggoodlife.com is a good place to start about the book. And if you're into YouTube videos, youtube.com/AmyTV. And if you're into podcasts, check out Detail Therapy or just find me on social because I talk about all of it all the time. So yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking a few extra minutes. I appreciate it. It's been super valuable, and I hope everybody got value. And make sure you message Amy on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Get her book. I'm going to put the links in the description as well. And yeah, thank you so much. It's been
Thanks,
awesome.
Carolina. I appreciate it.
Thank you.